What is your immune system and how does it work? The immune system is the system in your body that protects you from getting sick by fighting off infections and other diseases. When your body is attacked by an invader, your immune system kicks in. The immune system is like an army or the guards that protect and defend you. Think of your body as a fortress or castle. The first line of defense is your skin that acts like a protective wall. But sometimes a castle is attacked by monsters, like witches or vampires or werewolves. There are many ways that these monsters can get inside your body, not just from cuts and scrapes, but there are portals like the nose and mouth, just like a castle can be breached through its windows and doors. In your body, any foreigner that invades you is called a pathogen. For example, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Pathogens enter your body because they just want to replicate. But to do so, they infect your cells, turning them against you. Think of it like being attacked by a werewolf or vampire or zombie. If you're bitten, you turn into that monster. Luckily, we have a defense system that helps to protect our castle. Our body has cells that act as general soldiers. They will just attack anything that tries to harm you. This general defense system is known as your innate immune system. It mostly fights using natural killer cells, or NK cells, who destroy your infected cells, and phagocytes, cells that will engulf or eat an invader and chew it into little bits. Think of a phagocyte like a jailer/executioner. It'll then take a piece of the chewed up invader and put it out on display like a warning system. This helps alert the rest of the immune system. Phagocytes don't hang out the entire body of the monster. Instead, they just show a piece that will identify what the invader was. These pieces are known as antigens. Just like each monster has a distinguishing trait, like a pointy hat, a black cape, or yellow eyes, pathogens also have distinct characteristics, different proteins on the outside of their cells. Antigens are different for each invader, and they cause your body to respond in different ways specific to that pathogen. Now, the antigens displayed by phagocytes trigger specialized fighters in your body known as your adaptive immune system. This group of cells is like a special military intelligence group, and they can learn to recognize specific invaders and fight them with specialized weapons. It can learn what weapon works better against that invader and respond more precisely. The adaptive immune system kicks in when a lookout sentry begins the alarm. These sentries, known as helper T cells, wander around the castle until they run into a phagocyte. If the sentry doesn't see any antigens being displayed, it continues about its business. But if the jailer has on display something that the sentry doesn't recognize, like a strange hat or cape, it knows to send out the alarm that a foreign invader has made it into the castle. It tells the armory to gather the right kind of weapon. These armorers, or weapons makers, are known as B cells. The weapons that B cells produce to destroy pathogens are special proteins called antibodies. Now, the first time the army encounters a new enemy, it has to try out different weapons until it figures out what works. Similarly, your body needs to figure out if it's being invaded by a COVID-19 virus versus a chickenpox virus versus the measles, so it can figure out how to fight it. It takes some time for your body to learn that water will melt and kill a witch. So if it identifies an invader as a witch, it needs to prepare its water guns. But it also needs to learn that water isn't going to kill a vampire. While it's trying to figure out the right weapon, your body might get sick with symptoms like fever, soreness, or aches and pains. This might also be from your innate immune system setting off an inflammatory response. In time, your immune system learns that an invader wearing a black cape is a vampire that needs to be stabbed with a wooden stake, and a monster with glowing yellow eyes is a werewolf, and that to kill it, you need to shoot it with silver bullets. Once the B cell has identified the right weapon for the invader, it passes that information to your fighting force. These soldiers are called killer T cells, and they're the ones who attack and kill the infection or disease. Now, the cool thing about your immune system is that once it learns about the different invaders, it remembers it. Your fighting force can quickly recognize and attack that pathogen if it tries to infect you again. B cells have memory, so they can identify antigens and remember how to make the right weapon. Instead of having time to get you sick, the instant your immune system sees a vampire's cape, it knows to get out the wooden stakes and mounts the attack. So, let's recap. The castle is your body, and the castle walls represent your skin. All of the members of the fighting force together are known as the immune system. When monsters attack and enter your castle, the invasion is known as an infection. General fighters that attack any invaded cell are your natural killer cells. The jailers/executioners that engulf, chop up, and display pieces of the invader are phagocytes. The lookout sentries represent your helper T cells, who identify what is coming into your body. The armorers are your B cells, who figure out the best method of attack. And the fighters, who attack your body's infection, are your killer T cells. Any monster coming inside your body is called a pathogen. And the identifying marker on the monster, like the witch's hat, the vampire's cape, or the werewolf's distinct yellow eyes, is similar to the distinct proteins found on the outside of a cell. These are called antigens. The weapons, like the water, the wooden stake, or the silver bullet used to fight the monsters, are the antibodies. So, how do vaccines work? Vaccines are a way to train our army so that it is better prepared for war. Instead of waiting for the body to be attacked by an actual invader, we can train the soldiers ahead of time so that they can already identify a pathogen and have the right weapons ready. There are a few different types of vaccines, but all of them help our immune system learn the right antibody to fight each pathogen. Some vaccines, like the chickenpox or the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines, contain a really weakened version of the virus or bacteria. If you are generally healthy with a strong immune system, it won't cause serious disease and you can easily fight it off, learning all about what antibodies work best in the process. Other vaccines, like polio or the traditional flu vaccine, have inactive or dead germs, so your immune system can learn to recognize those pathogens without getting infected at all. Another way we can train our army is to just gather up the viral proteins. In other words, the antigen that's on the outside of the invading cell. So instead of bringing in a sick or a dead witch, you only need to collect a bunch of the witch's hats. The hepatitis B vaccine does this. Since it takes a while to gather up and separate out weak or dead invaders, or to find a bunch of witches' hats, the COVID-19 vaccine takes a slightly different approach. The main vaccines that are available in the US are known as mRNA vaccines. mRNA is a genetic code, like a blueprint or a recipe. The mRNA contains the sewing pattern that teaches the immune system how to sew a witch's hat. After your body makes the hat, the helper T cells suddenly realize that the hat is a foreign object that doesn't belong, so it begins the immune response. But the hat itself can't hurt you, just like getting the mRNA vaccine isn't going to give you COVID-19. You may feel sick or get soreness, but that's just your immune system at work. In the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, the mRNA is getting your body to produce the S protein, the spiky proteins that are seen sticking out of the surface of the coronavirus. Your B cells then learn to recognize those spike proteins and remember how to fight them. Getting a second vaccine booster shot just helps your cells have a longer-term memory. It also gives your B cells a chance to produce stronger, more specific weapons. After getting a vaccine shot, if your body encounters an actual SARS-CoV-2 virus particle, it will hopefully recognize it and already have its weapons ready. It's important for us to stop the spread of COVID-19 and to stay healthy. So protect yourselves. Along with getting the vaccine, keep wearing your mask, stay socially distanced, wash your hands, and do what you can to help out your immune system. Thanks for watching!